afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us right here on what seems to be a nice day to start the Memorial Day weekend.
Finally, a rainy week, but a gorgeous Friday.
Friday has turned out to be really pretty. You know, I went over to the Boone Centre this morning, and I was over there having a meeting. Have you been there yet?
No.
Because we've had them on the show quite a few times. I actually had breakfast there. Beautiful.
Boone Centre. Where is this?
It's part of the UK club.
Okay, all right.
And gorgeous, part of Spindletop and the UK club. Really lovely. If you're a member, hats off to you. It's such a beautiful place. Let's start off the show with something that's a little bit disturbing and something that has been around for quite a while, but it's now resurfacing again. A New Jersey high school student has died as a result of taking part in the risky choking game, according to a letter sent home to parents on Wednesday. The Ridge High School student's death was one of the tragic losses of students' life we have experienced this year, says Nick, the superintendent of the Bernards Township School System. According to mycentraljersey.com, the student has not yet been identified, but while the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has not updated its stats since 1995 to 2007, 82 people have died of such deaths.
That's horrible.
Now, we all, I don't know whether you know what this is all about, how they choke themselves in, whether it's a...
The kids will choke another child
until
they get to that. They choke them just close enough to where they're just about ready to pass out.
Yes, and it's supposed to be euphoria.
Yes, kind of like a high.
I don't know whether you all remember
That's horrific.
The Australian singer Michael Hutchinson. He died this way as well in a hotel in Australia called the Ritz-Carlton. What's really scary is, let me tell you, just enough to cut off the airway until the person flees a quick euphoric rush which occurs because of hypoxia or lack of oxygen to the brain. The catch is that sometimes the person who is choked will pass out or be left with irreversible brain damage, people. And this is happening again, and I really think it upset me when I read this story because I was actually in that hotel when Michael Hutchinson accidentally killed himself. It's frightening.
Yeah, that's scary.
And it's really scary that kids think this is a game again.
Yeah, they must think it's funny, maybe? I mean, do they think it's funny when the person is just about ready to pass out and then they come back and it's like they're having that euphoric feeling?
I don't know what it is or why kids seem to think this is something that you should be trying to do. And it's all the parents at home, I really do hope that you might sit down and have a conversation with your children about this.
Yeah, I think it just gets the conversation going. It's obviously very scary and dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Very scary. Hey, something else. Do you like garage sales?
I like
You're a bit of a bargain shopper.
I love a bargain.
Like what?
I call it a garage sale.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, so...
yes, I love garage sales.
Okay, so what do you, when you go to a garage sale, what do you sort of look for?
I look for anything.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Anything that really catches my eye. I look at jewelry a lot. I look, I'll look for toys for the kids sometimes.
Okay.
Depends. You know, I found a basketball hoop one time that you could play like a game.
I'm not a big garage sale guy, but I like going to all those bric-a-brac stores, and like they. Sometimes they're antique stores, although I did notice one on a street that's got like 40 stores in one.
Yes.
You know, I can't remember the name of it. I like going to those sorts of things and seeing, well, here is a fantastic story for you, my friends. If we can just, this is one word, it's talking about shopping at a garage sales can be quite a hit and miss, let me tell you. But one lucky customer is cashing in on a major fine. Sotheby's will auction off a sparkly cocktail ring a woman bought at a car boot sale in ready for this, 80. She paid $10 for it. She thought it was, what do you call it? Costume jewelry.
Yeah.
So it's just been wearing it around like no tomorrow. She was at a jewelry store one day and the jeweler said, oh, you should get that valued. It looks like it could be real. Didn't think anything of it. Lo and behold, she takes it to a darn jewelry store. You ready for this? $250,000 value, people.
I thought it was $325,000.
Hold on. Was that correct?
It's 250,000
pounds.
In pounds, yeah.
Sorry,
$325,000.
$325,000.
Oh my gosh, I can imagine the shock on
Yeah.
her face when
That's
they told
awesome.
her that
Yeah.
it was worth that much.
I remember back in Australia, a client of mine went to a garage sale and she loved this vase. So the woman who was having the garage sale, my client, she was like 75 or something. So the woman said, "Oh, you can have it." Okay, so she took it, and I think she said, "Look, let me give you $5." She sold it at auction, $105,000. It was some special Lalique or something like that. And I said to her, she came in and I did her hair. I said, "And that's the tip I'm getting?" You know, like, where's the vase? But I think when you go to these sort of stores now, it will make you want to look at things, but maybe a little bit too much, maybe.
I like it.
If only I could get that lucky to find something.
I wish we could get that lucky. Hey, you've got something interesting to talk about, vacation time.
Yeah, this is something that we've talked about a lot. People being afraid to take vacation time at work because of how it may impact them in the workplace, that their boss may look down upon them or they might be looked over for a promotion. Well, now there's this new study saying that among millennials, there's now an uptick in millennials are taking more vacation. But then the study went further and found that's only happening with males. Females are still worried about taking time off and aren't using their vacation days. So I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on this. Do you guys feel that you use all of your vacation days? And do you think that men are more apt to use those days than young women?
Quite honestly, I didn't. I didn't think that there was any difference, I guess, between the males and the females using it. You know, I came from a sales company previous to this job, and I always had my vacations pretty much spoken for, throughout the year.
Yeah, but you've got children as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's true. And that, I don't know, was it singles?
It's talking about millennials, so young people in
Okay,
the workforce,
all right.
so people in their kind of 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say late 20s.
So I think they're getting into the work field, that they're more paving the way still. I think once you have an established reputation, people are using those days. But it was interesting. I'm glad to see that younger people are starting to use those vacation days, but it's kind of worrisome that
The
women aren't quite using
Yeah,
them.
they're
yet.
still kind of feeling funny about it.
I think the first year you should sort of pave the way at your new job. And I know holidays are something that each job you either get 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, you negotiate within your employment contract. But I also think America has quite a few public holidays, like Memorial Day, Thanksgiving Day, and all
But
those.
there's quite a few
4th of
professions
July.
that do not get those days off work.
Right. Such as?
I mean,
So let's just
some
say
holidays
nursing.
aren't counted
Like Martin
for
Luther
us,
King
or
Day.
nurses or
That
doctors.
might be a
or,
day where
it's a
somebody-
holiday, but you don't get it off work.
Yeah, but I think you get in lieu, you get federal holidays off, so you get an extra day off at another time. I don't know, I think...
No, with Martin Luther King Day, we don't get that day off.
Oh, I didn't know that. I see. The thing is I still don't know what the American holidays are. So if you tell me I'm working, I'm working. But I think there was only something like a 7% difference. And I think it's interesting that I think women cope with work pressures a lot more than what men do. And men, I think, take time out for golf or going away for a Bucks weekend. I think that's where it's more about, rather than sitting at home and relaxing.
Yeah.
And I save vacation days too in case an emergency happens with one of the kids, in case they get sick, and I've already taken all my sick days or something.
Yeah.
So I always try to keep a reserve of vacation days just in case something happens that I need it for them.
But I do think even if you're in your first year, second year, third year, if you've negotiated the terms and you have a certain amount of days, you shouldn't feel guilty about using them. You should feel guilty about asking for extra. But if I have negotiated with you, it was so that I could use those days, or else I would want more money or more whatever. You came to the negotiating table wanting that, and you should take
Are you setting that conversation up for
I
something?
mean, that was important to me. That was part of, when I've taken each job, vacation days are more important to me than a slight bump in salary, maybe, because we're all away from home.
and I
you
think
want to see
everyone-
family members. So if you negotiate it, shouldn't feel guilty, even your first
And
year.
some companies too, some companies have the policy where you either use it or lose it.
Yep, we do.
Most companies do.
Or
Yeah.
some
Especially in
companies,
TV.
though, you can actually turn it in at the end of into the next year, you can actually cash in those vacation days. Whatever days you didn't use, you can actually cash it in.
Well, here the thing is also in here you just get your regular pay, right? In Australia, you get your holiday pay, so you have your vacation. You get 4 weeks a year. Every employee gets that. And you can carry it over, so you can get 8 weeks the next year. But your employer can say, hey, you can only maximum take 6 weeks a year, as an example.
Gotcha.
But the employer then has to pay 15.5% what they call holiday pay, gross of what your salary would be on top of. So you get
If
like
you
a
work
little,
a holiday.
no.
You mean?
If you take holidays throughout the year, when you take that week's holiday, you get an extra 15.5% of your gross salary as thank you from your employer.
Well, that's nice.
I know.
That's nice.
Wow.
And you say I'm not a nice person.
But I think here we get so much less vacation
you
than
do.
a lot of places around the world, so you should use them.
Use them.
Yeah, we
Use your
do, we
vacations.
do. Very quickly, I want to touch on this topic when you're talking about this high schooler who's pregnant.
Yes, yeah. There is a girl out of Maryland, and she goes to a Maryland Christian school.
Yes.
Her name is Maddie Runkles, and she is 18 years old. She got pregnant her senior year. And so the school, ultimately, the bottom line of the story is that they're not going to allow her to walk at her graduation. Now, here's where the controversy is. And it's a Christian school.
She's a straight A student
She's a
as well.
straight A student. She also, she went in with her parents. She got pregnant 5 months ago. So she went in with her parents immediately. They notified the school officials. She was immediately dismissed. Then her and her parents went back in and appealed the judgment, and they said, okay, you can come back, but you have to leave after spring break. And so they appealed that, and now what the final decision was they're removing her from all leadership positions, which she was student council president and vice president of the Key Club, and they're banning her from walking in her graduation. Now, she knew that there was a pledge that she signed when
Yes.
she
It's a
went into
Christian
the
school,
school.
everyone,
And
so-
it's
But
and
there
it
is a specific pledge signed
there's
on
a
this
pledge,
topic.
There's a pledge signed, and it says that the pledge was to abstain from sexual morality and from use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs. So that was, I mean, she had to sign this pledge. She did sign it. She did expect to be punished, but the punishment really should have happened at that 5 months ago when she told them. But now it's being dragged
Yeah.
out. She feels that she's being shamed for the pregnancy. And the thing is, they are pro-life. I mean, it is a pro-life Christian school. And so, what do you guys think? I
Well,
mean,
she was out of wedlock, darling.
yes, she
Yeah.
was.
In their mind, she was out of wedlock.
Right.
She signed the pledge. You know, I come from Utah people for 3 years where I was there. There were pledges. If you didn't stick to your pledge, you're out.
Yeah, and I think that's how I feel too. I think she's fabulous, and she's going to raise a
Straight A
child with her
student, yeah.
family. But I think, and I went to public school, so I would send my children to public school. But if people stick to those religious beliefs and they want to send their child to a school that aligns with those beliefs, and you agree to sign that pledge,
Right. Because
she might have to go to a different school.
well, in the
But
school
we've got to go.
officials. Oh yeah.
We've got to
yes.
run. We've got to get to commercial break, everyone. Got to sell some products. I'm sorry. Tell us what you think on our Facebook page. You put the story up there. After this short break, we'll catch up with Rebecca States and hear some of her excellent country pop tunes. Plus, later on, we'll be joined